What happened in the 2018 livestream for Dissidia NT and Dissidia Arcade? Well, actually, at the time of this recording, the patch will be live in Dissidia Arcade, or at least later on today, you'll see videos of the patch being live. But, what was added in this live stream? Further information was revealed about the first DLC character. Not only will he be a villain from a later Final Fantasy game, but he'll also be a Vanguard. In addition to that, they also told us that they're going to talk about him in the next live stream. So the next live stream will be about the DLC character, along with whatever else they're going to talk about. Hey, it's Blue from editing this video time, and no one's been able to give me a source on the character being a Vanguard, so, I mean, I heard people say that, like, last night, or, like, not last night, but, like, 2 nights ago when they were streaming the event, but, no one's, like, saying it now, like, no one's saying, like, oh, it's a Vanguard anymore, so that might have been a baseless rumor, but anyways, let's go to our next topic. Our next topic will be the balance changes. I made this handy-dandy little chart right here to show you who got buffs, who got nerfs, and who just got changes as with the current patch. Now, some of these changes are pretty minor, like, you know, like a little bit of damage decrease, a little bit of damage increase, etc. So I'm not really going to cover those. We're going to cover the more important ones, the more significant ones in my opinion. Ace received the most intense changes, so we'll go over him first. In fact, they showed him off on stream, doing all of his new moves, as they talked about it. Most of his abilities with his cards have been changed around burst and stop. So in high burst, essentially having 2 bursts, they increase the radius of it by 0.1 meters and the tracking range by 0.5 meters. Mega burst is no longer a spawn on enemy type of projectile. It is now a more standard projectile. He throws it forward rather than just spawning on the enemy. Short stop is now blockable. Long stop is anomalous. It actually has a guard stagger that's much longer, up to 67 frames rather than 25 frames. Its projectile speed has been increased, its end speed has been reduced, still similar to short stop, and the area of effect hitbox has been reduced on long stop. Mega stop is now a projectile as well. Next up is Vaughn, whose Calamitous Orb has been changed. Previously it would shoot out projectiles seemingly randomly, now it will shoot out 5 projectiles over the course of 5 seconds. It will shoot out a projectile every 60 frames, which equates to approximately 1 second. After it shoots out all 5 projectiles, it's gone. Cast it again. Up next is Cecil, who received many buffs to his Holy Flame attack. Its vertical hitbox has been increased by 1.5 meters downwards, meaning that people under the attack can still get hit by it. Its animation starting height has been decreased by 0.3 meters. Its HP hit damage has been decreased by 2 frames, so it means the HP attack will actually do the HP damage a little faster. Its HP hit notification has been increased by 2 frames, so that means you get the visual feedback better. And overall, the visibility of the attack itself has been improved for both you and enemy players, meaning that it's going to be a lot more easier to land when this patch goes live, and it's going to be a lot more consistent. Terra's charged version of Tornado has had its absorb effect weakened, which I can kind of understand, because her neutral fire is already pretty hard to dodge when it's charged up at close range, so weakening her Tornado to kind of like lower her defenses, because she already has 2 options, I can kind of see why they did that. Honestly, it's not that major of a change. Usually you don't use Tornado anyway. I don't really find myself using a charged Tornado, unless if we're losing, and then we just lose anyway. And Thundara has had its Wall Rush removed. So, I mean, you didn't really land all Wall Rushes with Terra anyway, so these are kind of like minor nerfs, if anything. They look big, but most of the time, I don't really land Wall Rushes with Terra. I don't see Terra's landing a lot of Wall Rushes, even in Japanese gameplay. So Terra just, I guess she kind of got like a little bit scot-free this patch. Sure, she got some minor nerfs, but like nothing major. The last thing I want to cover, at least in this video, is Cloud, who was also shown off during the stream itself. Cloud's bravery attacks, when fully charged, have had their poise strengthened, meaning he can go through things that he usually couldn't, like Terra's Tornado, and, you know, hit her, like most of the other Vanguards can do with their forward bravery attacks. He can do it now with any attack that he charges up, so that means if Cloud is telegraphing saying, hey, I'm going to hit you with something really hard, and you decide not to hold L1 or, you know, just dash away, you're going to get slapped no matter what you do, unless you, block or retreat. which is, you know, the way it should be, because Cloud is super fucking slow and very telegraphed and pretty easy to punish if he does something bad. But yeah, so basically Cloud can now just barrel through anything if he fully charges up an attack. That about does it for the balance changes this patch. There are more down in the description below. All of them can be read there if you don't want to hear me talk about them anymore, if you want to see what changed with the character I didn't cover. There are more down there in the description. Go ahead and read them, educate yourself. I just want to cover a couple of the most key, important ones in this video right here. After they talked about the balance changes on the stream, this happened. They had a room match. They're going to have a room match with, you know, anybody could join and fight the developers, and they only had 2 matches, and this happened during the first one. I don't know, something about this is just really funny. Like, Kane's like, nah, bruh. I'm not about this life. I don't want to fucking yash. Yeah, it was just 1 developer versus 3 other players, because the other 2 DC'd right at the very start. And then they showed off some merch. Nothing really too special. I mean, they had Furion blanket and a Terra blanket, but does anybody really care other than me? Probably not. They showed how players in the arcade version are going to be able to get the Dissidia NT pre-order items in the arcade version. They also showed off a couple new icons. One of Pictologica Titus, one of Bart's alternate costume, and one of a fat chocobo! Woo! But yeah, they showed up. Those are for arcade, not for NT. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, they showed off our month's piece of content. And before I go over showing this all off to you, I just want to say one thing. If they don't include the level 25 weapons with this update, I'm going to be very disappointed. Because you'll see why in 1 second. Yeah, that's the new stage, and like, I don't know, I feel like they wanted like to reference the original tactics as like weird maps by not having a background, but they had a background for all the other old Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, etc., where those games were 2D and usually had black voids outside of like one wall that faced the camera because it was at a top-down angle in those old video games where you can only see it from one angle and you couldn't see the other 3 walls. So like, I don't know, just, and in, like in the remake version in Final Fantasy Tactics, the War of the Lions remake, there is a cutscene at the Orborn Monastery where Ramza chases after Delita, and when he goes outside the church, you can see there's a forest around the church while it's raining. I just feel like they should have had the forest there and the rain there for the first map. If this wasn't the first map, I wouldn't have minded it at all. I would think it would have been a cool idea. However, I think they should have like really dedicated themselves to the idea of it being all old-timey style, and had just like the background be just like a flat like blue or gray or green or whatever, rather than having clouds in the background. I think that would have been a nice little like extra nod, a little bit more of attention to detail. But I think the map looks very interesting to have one building run up. I think it's gonna be hell to play on as Golbez, but I think it'll be easier as a marksman to play on that stage compared to Alexandria. But yeah, that's all I really got to say on it until we actually get the map ourselves. Well, actually, I came back after completing that match as Ramsey you're watching right now, and I thought about it while I was fighting, and what I have to say is that, like, I want to love the stage. I love, like, seeing, like, you know, when you play Tony Hawk, and you get, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 Tony Hawk in a modern game, and he's, like, all blocky and shit, and these HD graphics, and he has, like, a fucking shitty shadow, terrible shaders, weird shadows on his body. I love that shit. I live for it. You're playing Sonic Adventure 2 and you unlock the Green Hill Zone stage, and it's like all square and there's like old enemies there. And instead of hearing when you jump, you hear like in the old Sonic games. I love that shit. I don't know, but it's like I just feel like this alone just feels lazy in this instance because it's the very first piece of content and it's all we're going to be getting. We're not getting any costumes, we're not getting any player icons, we're not getting any weapons, we're not getting any titles or any modes or anything else other than this stage alone, this floating stage. And it just like, I want to love it so badly because it's such a cool concept, but I just can't, like, I just can't, like, I just can't. I know I just said 3 times because I can't continue the sentence with any other words. I just can't love the stage if this is all they're going to put out, this, you know, this cheap feeling stage. I mean, it looks cool, has a good idea, but like, it just feels cheap to be out there alone. Anyways, I want to hear you guys think about it. Don't let my opinion influence yours. I really want to hear what you guys think about it, honestly. From an actual stage perspective, it looks fine. I don't know. I would like to play on it a little bit, see some gameplay on it before I form an opinion. Maybe I'll make another video on it. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe. Don't eat your mom. And bye.